Welcome to the Stedding. This is a haven of belonging for the Wheel of Time community, growing connections that are rooted in and branching beyond the stories we all love. Here is where the episode would normally start, but because this was the first one, we had a couple of little technical snafus and awkwardness on my part. So I just wanted to hop on and say, if you're watching the video, that next time our faces will be bigger. This time it recorded in a way that I didn't expect, and I tried to increase it a little bit in editing, but the resolution isn't that great, so I am going to work on that. And also, for my own part, I felt super awkward just because it's the first time doing this, and trying to talk and manage slides and stuff was harder than I expected, but Uno was great, and I don't want you to miss any of that. So I'm going to post this anyway, even though I honestly feel for my part it's a little bit cringe. But you have to start somewhere, and hopefully it will become easier. And it was still fun. And we're all a big happy family. So here we go. So I have with me today Uno.
Hi. My name is not really Uno. My name is Kat, but I'm mostly known on Twitter time as Uno, and on the Flickr show, where I'm one of 7 lovely hosts, together with my partner Agenor, or Mike. I am currently living in Sweden with Agenor and my 2 cats, and we are all big Wheel of Time fans.
Yeah. So this was really cool. I am joining in from Arkansas, and we had to align our time zones. And so I think it's evening for you. It's kind of a little after lunchtime here. And through the magic of the internet and this terangrial we call a laptop, we're making it happen. So this is the first episode. What I've asked Uno to do is pull together different photos, and we're going to pull those up and talk about them. And the first thing we're going to talk about is, who were you when you first discovered the Wheel of Time? So I'm going to share my screen and show the picture you sent me for that.
It was hard finding good pictures or good. I mean, pictures
you
of
did good.
14, 15-year-old me, somewhere around that. I think might be 15 here. So I discovered the books in 2003, I think. So I was just about to turn 15. And I had read The Lord of the Rings, like so many. I have very standard finding the Wheel of Time story. So I had read The Lord of the Rings, and I just sort of wanted another fantasy series to immerse myself in. And I saw the Swedish cover for The Eye of the World.
Yeah, I have that. You sent that.
Farornas väg. And it's called Sagan om drakens återkomst in Swedish. So it's like the saga of the return of the dragon.
Cool.
And I guess I sort of found this cover intriguing. Most of the Swedish covers are really horrible, but fortunately The Eye of the World, the first book, looks kind of okay, I think. And in Swedish, all the books were divided in 2, so this is like part 1 of The Eye of the World. But unfortunately they never translated the Brandon Sanderson books. So then I had to do a reread so I started over with the English books, but I mean, that was so much better.
Yeah. I guess so. We're going to have this on YouTube for anybody who's listening, but for anybody so we're going to have it on YouTube if you want to watch, but some people might be listening on podcasts, so maybe we should describe the images. So going back, you have this cool Metallica shirt. I was definitely not this cool at this age.
I think I have just started to discover rock music, and Metallica was cool. was a big Linkin Park fan. That was like the first step into like rock and metal and stuff like that. Um, so yeah, and I think in this, yeah, I think this is from when me and my mom went to London actually, and we're just sitting. I think we're sitting in Hyde Park maybe, and
Hmm,
having lemonade.
nice.
So
Yes.
yeah, that was sweet, sweet little me.
And then the Swedish cover has a lot of similarities actually to the American one. You've got the moon, the big round white moon in the background, and then land and
Yeah,
moraine. But then I guess that is Balsamon in the hood.
I'm
Is that?
assuming it is. Yeah, it should be.
Yeah. And then the snake biting its tail with the little wheel of time symbol up top,
Yeah,
and then a lot of fog. So they
a
just
lot of
didn't want as
fog.
many characters, I guess, on the cover for this one.
No, so it's very purplish, like
Yes, very purplish.
nighttime.
Very cool.
Man in full armor with like two swords on his back, and Mandar looking really fierce. So
And
it's a pretty cool cover.
yeah, and now I recognize, I think this is the next image that
Yes,
this first fan art is from the cover. I can see
exactly.
that now.
I loved Lan and Nynaeve from the beginning. So I my very first Wheel of Time fan art was of Lan on Mandarb. Thought that was really cool. So yeah, this was in June. Yeah, June 2003. So 20-year anniversary this year for me.
Nice. Congratulations.
It's been a lot of
We've we've
fan
been
art
at it
after
for a long
that.
time. Um, so yeah, this is a really cool pen and ink drawing, lots of value shading and Mandarb. I don't know, is he like um I've suddenly blanked on what this word is, where they go up on their hind legs. It will come to me back when it's
Yeah,
no longer relevant.
proud of this when I was at 14 then.
Yes, definitely. Like all of the people and horses are both hard. And this looks really cool. So, were you into drawing and art at that age? I mean, obviously you were, but were you drawing things before the book and then this just inspired you to make fan art or?
I've always been drawing. Um, so I mean, I guess when I was younger, it was like dinosaurs and animals, and I did some Lord of the Rings when I started reading those books. So I mean, fan like books and movies has always been a big inspiration. So I love doing fan art.
Yeah,
Um,
that's really cool. And do you
yeah.
remember like what it was about Lan and Nynaeve that kind of drew you to those characters from the beginning?
I don't know. I just like I know that a lot of people had problems with Ninety because yeah, she's a bit of a bully and stuff. But I know I liked her from page one, and I remember when I read it the first time, then when Moraine and the gang left without her, and I was like, no, no, she needs to come with them. I want to
Yes.
know more about her. And when she showed up in Berlin, I was like, yes, she's back.
Yes. I love
Um,
Nynaeve too. And I was really excited when she showed up. I was like, okay, yeah.
yeah. I think it's she's very human to me. I mean, she acts all confident and like bashes people with a stick and just, but she's really in reality really insecure, and she just
Yeah.
wants people to like see and respect her. And I think that's just sort of resonated with me in some ways.
I think a
Um,
lot of people are coming to appreciate her more through the show because Zoe's doing such a
oh,
great job acting.
absolutely.
So that's cool. I can't remember what. Okay, this is the
Oh,
next image.
yes. So you asked like, yeah, where was I when reading these books? So I mean, of course, read them over many years
That's
and had
true.
to wait I mean, Robert Jordan died, and I stopped reading them because he died. And I didn't realize that Sanderson had picked up writing the books until, yeah, much later, when like a classmate told me that, oh, but don't you know that this person who I've never heard about is finishing the books? And I said, oh, I need to start reading them again. So then when I picked them up again, I think I was, yeah, studying at university. Me and Aggie had moved to southern Sweden for studies. Um, so this is me at that, I think this might be 2011 or something like that. So I was studying to become an osteologist, which is like studying archaeology, but focusing, my major was in the study of animal and human remains. So this is me at an excavation with a boar tusk.
Cool.
Yeah. So that's
So
the story behind that picture.
yeah. So you were studying to tell me again how to pronounce these things.
Osteologist. So like
Osteologist.
yeah, or you could say like a zooarchaeologist if you're studying animal remains, or a bioarchaeologist if you're studying human remains. But I do both.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So I'm sure you did lots of reading and stuff, but then you get out there and you're actually like, what is it like when you're doing, is would excavation be the right word?
Yeah.
Yeah, when you're doing, like, what was it like to do that for the first time? I remember like being a little kid and being just fascinated. My best friend wanted to be a paleontologist
Yeah.
when I was like 5. And so you grew up and actually did it. So what was it like kind of getting your hands in the dirt and actually doing that stuff?
I mean, I love the physical work. It's really great. But it's like it's a bit like like detective work. I mean, you're sort of trying to figure out what happened at this particular site. Um, did did the people live there, or did they stop and make a hearth and have like dinner or something? Or um, what time period are we talking about? Sort of like just creating a narrative, and you know, just what did people do in the past? It's a mystery. We want to solve a mystery. Um, and also you can say so much from like looking at both animal and human remains, of course. Um, like, how did they live? How did they die? Did they get any injuries? Did they have children? What happened to them? And I guess that also ties in with like um, reading and enjoying all, like, it's storytelling in different ways.
Yes, yes. I was getting that as well. Very curiosity driven.
Yes, I would very much be a Brown.
Yes, yes, me too. Um, so yeah, I guess when like look thinking about the connections between that and the Wheel of Time, like were you very brownish and curious while you were reading the books about looking for the clues and the stories? Um, was that part of your reading experience?
Um, trying to remember, but
I know we
yeah,
reread them. It's kind of hard to like zone back in on that first read sometimes.
yeah. I mean, it was so many years ago I started, but of course, I mean, you wanted to figure out what would happen next, and I probably more so as I grew older. I think Wheel of Time was such a new experience. I hadn't read anything like that before. I mean, the first book is, of course, have many similarities to Lord of the Rings, and I picked up on that very quickly. It's like, oh, okay, Padam Fane is obviously Gollum, and Matt is like Pippin and Moria, and when they're in the ways and stuff like that. So,
It
but it's
also you can keep going if you have more.
I know it's just that it's hard to remember first impressions and first ideas.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is. I've been rereading The Great Hunt, and there is an excavation in The Great Hunt where they
Yeah,
are unearthing the saw and Grail.
yeah.
Do you remember if that made an impression on you, or like have you reread that since you've actually started doing the work and kind of it's unusual for that to be in. I think that's one of the coolest things for me about the Wheel of Time is it's not just about the one timeline they exist in. It's all about the history from
Mm.
before and then the future, and it's like all timey-wimey. So I'd love to know, I guess, your thoughts on like if those are some of the themes that resonated with you in the books as well.
Yeah, I really enjoy those parts. And the whole when they're excavating the Shodan call, I
Yes, yes.
pronounce,
There you
yeah.
go.
It's like, oh, this is very like 19th century archaeology. It's like, oh, big things. And
Yes.
yeah, very like monumental stuff. And it's like first time we get introduced to Varen and explore more of like the brown Aja and all the other Ajas. Like, yes, I'm a brown. I would do that. I would just travel around and record stuff and go to excavations.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
want to say um I think it might have been a while since I read about her quarters, but I want to say they're like skeletons and like really cool stuff. I always get that
Yes. It
wizardy
has like a
vibe.
the Trolloc
Yes.
skull, and I was like, I want a Trolloc skull.
Yes. I feel like I have like bare bones. This is my art studio, and I want to just keep like piling weird stuff in here until it feels kind of like a wizard lair.
Absolutely.
Um, I guess, did we describe this image for people who are listening? You did mention it was a boar's tusk.
Yeah. So it's a picture of me in my younger days, with brown dreadlocks and like a bandana, and I'm holding a toothbrush and a boar tusk like at the side of my mouth, and yeah,
And so you've been like
looking very happy.
cleaning the tusk with the toothbrush, I
Yeah,
assume.
cleaning the osteological finds from it's
Cool.
an Iron Age site called Uppåkra in southern Sweden, and it's like one of the big central places in Sweden during, or it's not Sweden during this time, but what would become Sweden.
Right.
So it's really a spectacular site. Lots of like gold and glass, very like exclusive finds and stuff like that. So it's really cool to get to do like your studies there.
Yeah. And when you find the I'm losing words. When
Yeah,
you have
the finds.
when you find that's what it seems so repetitive. When you find the finds, where do they go? Like museums or libraries or universities or
Eventually, they end up in some sort of museum. It's the so we all operate at like county level. So it's the county administrative board that decides where are these finds supposed to go. Sometimes it's with the local museum, but if it's like more special, exclusive things, then it might go to the National Museum in Stockholm. Um, so it depends a little bit, but yeah.
yeah, very cool. And it travels with the stories that you've put together from looking at all the clues.
Mm.
You
And
are a brown Asha.
hopefully, yeah, hopefully they'll end up in like an exhibition at a museum somewhere, not just in
Yeah,
storage.
very cool. Very cool. Okay, I'm not sure what's next, but here we are, number 5.
Oh yeah. So yeah, this is from when Agenor and I got married last year. We're jumping a bit in topics here, but I guess it's the evolution of our Wheel of Time story as well.
Yeah.
Um, So yeah, we've been together for almost 16 years now, and it took me like I don't know how many. I had finished A Memory of Light and was maybe a year or two after that that I finally got him to read the books.
You
And
are
now he's all hooked on them, and he's on his he's on his first reread, I should say.
nice.
And we actually got Kramer and Redding to record our wedding vows. So we had like a
Oh,
Wheel of Time style wedding.
that is awesome.
Black suits, and Agenor is in like maroon vest and tie, and I'm in green, a green tie.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
cool.
So it was in February last year, on the 22nd of February in 2022. And it was a Tuesday. So we got a pun in there.
Yeah, cool. So I guess when you were reading the books originally, you weren't necessarily part of the online fandom. So when did
Yeah.
that part kind of connect?
That first time was with Twitter of Time, and yeah, when the show was announced. I mean, I had no one to talk to about the books until then, more or less. Um, I mean, until I finally got I to read them. I
Was that
had
after the TV show had started?
Yes. Oh no, no, before.
Before.
So it must have been maybe in 2014 or something, 15, somewhere around there.
Cool.
He was studying English at the time, and he had to do a book review. I was like, "Oh, you've been nagging me with these books like forever. Should I just read them?" It's like, "Yes, yes, please. I can help you with the book review. No, no problem. Just here's the eye of the world."
Very cool. Yeah, my husband is watching the show now, but he hasn't read the books yet. But it's really fun to have that different experience too, as a show watcher that doesn't know what's coming. And then I'm like, okay, can you tell me what you think is happening here? It's been really fun.
Yeah. We've gotten our best friend and his girlfriend to watch the show, and they're really enjoying it. But it's really fun to like hear their like what they think is gonna happen, and especially in season one, it's like, oh, who do you think is the dragon? Like, it's like it's got to be the grumpy ginger. It's like,
I know. Nathan picked that out right away too. So I'm like, you guys, you were trying to do the whole mystery thing, but it was like a little bit too obvious.
yeah. But then they became a little bit unsure after. I was like, oh, we figured it was a ginger kid, but and now we're thinking maybe, oh, maybe it's the Italian guy. It's like, who's the
Well,
Italian
he
guy?
does
It's like,
have
oh,
like
Matt.
he does have a loony theory that I guess um well obviously we're I was just going through in my head about spoiler levels, but he has a loony theory that all of the Two Rivers folks are kind of the dragon, like they're all the dragon in
Oh,
this
okay, yeah.
turning. And so he still hasn't let that one completely go because he thinks it's cool that they're all developing different powers and stuff. So I'm like,
Mm.
okay, we'll see. Okay, let's see what your next
Yeah, yeah. This
is.
is our two cats. So the biggest one in the foreground, that's Matrim or Matt, and the other one is Buddha. So we have one Wheel of Time named cat. Um, but the other one, Buddha, was named before by my colleague before we got her. So it's like, okay,
Hmm.
no, we're not gonna change her name. That's a pretty good name. So,
Yeah, very cool.
yeah.
And is Matrim always kind of getting into trouble or getting people out of
Oh,
trouble?
he's a little bit older now, but yes, we have had so many trips to the vet because he constantly got into fights. So he's
Oh
got
no.
so many scars, and he's broken his leg, and he's just wild. But he's a tired old man now, so
Yes. Yes.
he's calmed down.
Love it. Uno.
Oh no.
So this it's titled Uno Fan Art Pre-Show. Oh, it's dated as
Yes.
well, 2020.
So was like my head canon before the show. It's based on uh, Japanese actor, Japanese American Ken Watanabe. No, he's just Japanese, but he's a star in a lot of American movies. So I used him as like the basis for my Uno because that's always been the Shine Ardens have always been very Japanese. And I really love Japan. It's like my favorite place to be. So yeah.
Yeah, and I
And
love the
obviously love Uno. So
obviously, yes. Talk to us about that. Like, what is it about Uno that you resonate with that drew you to pick that name for Twitter of Time? And
I mean, of course, like I have favorites among Matt is like one of my favorites among the main characters. Matt, Nynaeve, then Min and Rand. Rand was my favorite. Rand and Nynaeve, my favorites from the beginning, from like book one. But then like Matt and Min grew on me, and
mhm.
but like among like the side characters, I Uno always resonated with me. He's like he's grumpy and he curses. And it's like he's like my soul animal. um I don't know. I just he's a really great character. I mean, he's the original Dragonsworn. He's the first Dragonsworn. He's the first to go to run and just like, yes, I'll swear my oaths to you. Um, and he's loyal. He's a good guy. Um, and just rough around the edges. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I guess show spoiler alert. Um I like my some of my favorite memories of Uno are later in this series, and so I'm just wondering, like, I don't know, I'm kind of bummed that we're not going to get some of what happens later. Um,
I haven't given up hope yet.
mm,
But we'll see. We'll see.
we'll see. I love the design that you did for the eye. Um, it like you've still carried. Do you have a tattoo of that? Did I see that
Ah,
earlier
yes.
on your hand? That's cool.
So the in instant cosplay, I can just put it up and instant Uno.
Nice. But it's like minimal, but it's bold and it's angry, and I love it.
I think I've changed that design with almost every drawing I've made.
There's something in the spirit of it, I think that I mean we'll move to the next one here in a minute, but it kind of translates through. Is this what kind of like do you use Procreate or Photoshop, or what do you like to do your digital art in?
So this is like a paper and
Oh, okay.
pencil drawing from the beginning, and then I just scanned it and colored it
Okay,
in.
gotcha.
I think I used Krita for this or something. Maybe Psy. It was a couple of years ago. I've changed programs a bit. Um, but yeah, I like to start off with just a pencil sketch and then maybe ink it and then do colors in the computer. At this point, I did it. These now lately I've been doing more like with watercolors and stuff like that. So
Hmm.
I like I like changing things around and experimenting. So
I can move
I tend to change my
forward to
style
that.
from here to here. Yeah.
Yeah. So this one says 2022, so it's more recent.
Yeah. So of course this I did that at the end of season one when we finally got to see Uno, uh, played by the amazing Guy Roberts, of course. So this is yeah, it's pencil on paper and then watercolors and then just um some edited in the computer just for like color correction and stuff like that. But otherwise, it's um, just traditional art
Yeah.
and with the updated eye patch.
Hmm. There's a lot of similarities, though, I would still say.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, very cool. I love the watercolor in the background
It was fun to do. And
and the
it's
splatters.
actually and Guy actually has this picture at home, so
Cool. Did you,
managed.
well, I don't know what order the pictures are in, but so I guess skipping ahead, but this just it made me think of this that you got to see
Yeah.
him actually perform in Shakespeare.
It was so cool. It was fantastic play, and both him and Taylor Napier, who plays Maxim, and Jessica, who plays Alwyn now in season 2, they were all so amazing. The whole cast was amazing. So it was a really fun experience, and we went there with Loyal's Library, Malkia Talks, and Sulin, and the Agnor there, of course. And then Goat Brother Roger was supposed to be with us, but he got COVID. So
Oh,
yeah,
that's a
but we
bummer.
managed to bring him a program at least.
Oh,
So
that's good. That's good.
yeah, yeah. So this is I think this is the latest that I have done. So it's Jessica Boone as Alwyn, and I really love the Sean Chan outfits and the costumes.
Mm,
They're so cool. It's not like what I imagined in my
yes.
head, but I understand that it's hard to bring that to screen in a good way. And now here's my cat, and
Yes, I follow the costume designer on Instagram and I had left a comment like it is so cool seeing this culture that I've been imagining in my head for 20 years like come to life on the screen because there's only so far your head can take bug-like helmets and like the way they've
Mm,
translated that into costumes is just so cool.
yeah, because they need to make it work on screen and actually also be functional in battle. You
Yes.
can't have like these huge masks and think that they're supposed to be able to fight in them.
Yes.
Um, I'm really excited to see more of like Turok and yeah.
Yeah, every episode we seem to see a little bit more, something from a little bit
Mm.
different part of the Shanshan culture. And that's definitely been an exciting part of this season, seeing all of that.
And they actually had like real nails that I know there was a discussion before the show that it's just like metal things that they put on their
Mm,
hands. It's not real nails, but that was just decoration. They had nails underneath. So that
yeah.
was really cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm guessing you would need some sort of protection to not just break your nails constantly.
Right. They must, I mean, that's what the lacquer comes in, maybe, just strengthen. And then the
Yeah.
little nail cover things. It also dawned on me the latest episode we watched how the innkeeper picked up, he was like doing all these nail comparisons and they were slightly different. And maybe now we know why they were slightly different after what happened
Yeah, right.
in episode 5. So very cool. Okay, let's see what's next. Oh, cosplay.
Yes. Um, yeah. This was also like my my first Uno cosplay before the show came out and we got to see like the show outfits. So it's like, how do I sort of imagine the
Mhm.
Shienarans to look like? And they're described as having like the yellow and the black hawk and swords on their back and the slit through the coat or the cape. It's like so just worked from there and like bought the armor. And so this is at Comic Con Stockholm. Must have been, when was this? It was a couple of years ago. Just before, year before the show came out. Must have been.
Cool. And have you done like cosplay before this, or was this your first time?
No, I've done. I did a matte cosplay before. I didn't send you any pictures of that. But I never got to wear it to any like events or I've
Yeah.
just had it at home.
Yeah, it's cool when you
And
can wear it with other people, other
yeah,
nerds.
exactly. So I've only done like Matt and Uno for Wheel of Time, but I've done like Axel from Kingdom Hearts. What more have I done? Gideon from the Locked Tomb series. You know that book, those books. I like Spider-Man because I love Spider-Man. That was
Spider-Man's
like
cool.
just buying a Spider-Man suit. It wasn't much me making
Yeah,
cosplay.
cool.
It's buying a suit.
I do not know the Lock Tomb series, so can you tell me about that?
Yeah, the tagline is like lesbian necromancers in space.
Okay.
That's that's a pretty
That's a pretty good tagline.
yes, and like the front cover is like a redheaded woman with swords in a skeleton mask, and it's like I need to read that book.
Okay, yeah. Draw those
So
cover images are important.
it's a really cool series actually. If you like fantasy and you like space
Space.
stuff and like queer literature, then it's a great series.
Cool. Very cool. I'll try to put some
Um,
of these links in the show notes for anybody else who wants to check it out.
so there's been 3 books so far, and I think the fourth one is supposed to be the last one. So I'm waiting for that.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then here's the new costume.
Yes, here's my. I have a season 1 Uno cosplay, but yeah, just this is the latest. My season 2 Uno. I'm pretty happy with this one. It was really fun to
I
make,
think
even though I had to like stress to get it done before Malkyaricon. I was like, and my sewing machine broke. It started like smoking.
I think
I
it looked
was like,
wait, I was like just waiting to compliment you and then you said your sewing machine was smoking. That's stressful. I barely
yes.
finished my cloak before WatCon, but my sewing machine was not smoking. So there is that.
No, fortunately enough, Agonor's mom was kind enough to lend me hers. So it's like called her on like Sunday morning. It's like, hi, can we just come over and borrow your sewing machine for a bit? So like
Yeah.
slight panic, but yeah.
Yeah, but it looks great. I think they could let you walk right onto set in that, and they should.
Oh,
Um, did you how did you paint the hawk on
yes.
that piece? It looks great.
So I just did like a silhouette from a screenshot and then painted it on.
Is
Um,
it yellow paint on black fabric? I guess.
yeah, yeah, or dark blue, but yeah,
Hmm. Oh, now I see. Is it blue or black? Is it hood or hair?
navy blue.
Yes, I see that now. Okay, I think we have more than one. Yeah, here's the shield. Nice and battered.
Yes, I mean we can't have like.
No.
I mean my outfit is still a bit too clean, so I need to like wrestle some Shan Shan.
Very cool. I think
Yeah,
was there
it was my first time using. It's made with Ava foam.
hmm.
Um, so that was a fun new experience. I want to do like more like armor pieces and stuff like that. So yeah, it's really light, so you can really like, swing it around.
Very cool.
It's like it's just glue and foam and just with some paint. But it
Nice.
looks I'm
It
pretty proud
looks
of it
good.
actually. I
And
mean, for a
is
first attempt, I think it passed.
I think it more than passed. How about your sword? Is that foam too? Or is that metal?
Yeah, it's foam, but I did not make that one. That's store bought.
Yeah. Well, it all works together brilliantly. And the nice lace up boots and the eye patch.
Yeah,
Very cool. It looks fun
I
to
had
wear.
fun. And it's comfy. That's like the best part because like
Yes.
oh no, not last year, but this year in April at Jordan Con, I bought full armor and it dug into my
Mm,
shoulders. It was so uncomfortable. I was like, No, I should just make foam armor.
Yes, yes. There's something to be said for comfort in cosplay
Hmm.
for sure. For sure.
Absolutely.
And then here you are with Agenor.
Yes. This
Is it at
Agenor.
Malkirikon? Did you do
Yes.
that?
So it's just, yeah, just the other weekend. And Agenor is wearing his lovely steampunky goggles and has a little baby Fade with him.
Has that wild, crazed look in the eye.
Yeah, he's good with that. And
You
he's a
did
science teacher, so it fits like with his
a
whole,
science teacher.
yeah.
Very cool. You guys did the Ghostbusters this year for What Idol, didn't you?
Yes, yes, we did.
Yeah, I'm getting flashbacks to that from seeing you together. Very cool.
That was fun as well.
Yeah, I
We
kept
had
trying to
fun
vote that one
together.
through. It was a really fun one.
And I really love that we have Wheel of Time together now. It's not
Yeah.
just me being a nerd, and he's just fallen in love with all of this as well, and like the community. So
Yeah, that's so cool.
um, I hope to be able to bring him to both of us to get to WatCon one of these days, so we can meet like more Americans as
That would be
well.
fun. I'm hoping, I don't know. I should maybe not jinx myself, but touch wood. I'm hoping if I can save up to come to Econ next year. But I'll for sure be at WatCon. Um, yeah, there's nothing like meeting the other fans.
No, it's so great, and this community is it's been so amazing. Everyone is so welcoming, and you can be the person that you want to be and the person that you are, and you don't have to like, yeah, change
Yeah,
yourself for anyone.
it's so cool. And it should be more common, but I'm just glad that we have it. We have it in this little corner of the internet.
Yes, and this is obviously Matrum's cosplay.
Nice.
Yeah, so this is like the my oldest cat, and we made a little broad-brimmed hat for him and a little black scarf for, I don't know when we did this. I think it might have been for a Christmas picture.
Hmm. I love the eyes. They're just like really
Yeah,
big. Yeah,
he's
very
sweet.
cute. You have to cosplay your cat when his name is Matron.
Exactly. He didn't like it. I mean, we he had that on for like 2 seconds, but we managed to get some pictures at least.
Tell him next it's lace.
Mm. Has a little bow tie.
Lace around the paws.
Yeah. All right. So more Wheel of Time nerdery with Agenor. So we always loved traveling together. So this is when we went to Prague in February and visited a lot of Wheel of Time filming locations. So if you recognize this is from like when the White Cloaks are chasing
Mm,
Aram and Perrin and Egwene, and they run past like some weird statues in the
yeah.
forests. So we went to see that. Um,
And so those were like actually there. That wasn't made for the show.
no, no, no. Uh, what was his name? It was actually a hobbyist sculptor, which is a local man named Vaclav Levy, I think, in the 1840s. He was working like at some sort of castle nearby, and in his free time, he just went out into the forest and made a lot of carvings because all is like sandstone, so it's really soft.
Mm,
So it's really, and the whole forest is like, it's like an hour outside Prague, maybe. And that whole area is just full of these sculptures, and it's so cool. So
yeah, and it
I
definitely
recommend anyone going to like Prague or Malkirikon next year that take a few days and just go visit these locations because it's so cool.
and they look huge.
They are, and these are not even like the biggest ones. I think the biggest ones were like 10, 12 meters, called like the devil faces or something, like three really big
Yeah, it
faces.
definitely feels like something that would be in the Wheel of Time because they're always like sitting on
Mm.
a rock and then they're like, oh, that's a giant toe or something.
Yeah.
There are all these, and it just looks like a rock. And then you find out it's a sculpture from the Age of Legends. So that's whoever did the location scouting on that one
Mm.
found a real gem.
And it's like a lovely forest, and you can just walk around there. And yeah.
Yeah, that would be awesome. And this is
Yeah.
another filming location.
Yeah. So this is Breen Spring, the quarry town where they met.
Hmm. Matt and
Oh,
Tom and
yeah.
Dana.
Yes. My mind just went blank there for a bit. So that's actually like an old quarry that they use for a lot of filming. They also filmed the movie Medieval with Gary Roberts. Um,
I
and
don't know if I've seen that.
there were signs up when we were there that they were about to do some sort of a other film.
Yeah,
So
cool. Yeah, it was a great location.
and people go swimming there. You're not supposed to because it's really dangerous because it's an abandoned quarry, but apparently during the summers it's full of people just bathing there. But the ledges were really steep, and Agenor is afraid of heights, so he's like, nope, nope, not
Mm,
getting closer than this.
yep, close enough. You can see
Mm.
it. It looks like a cold day too.
It was, I mean, it was February, so it was a little
Yeah.
bit chilly.
Okay, here we are back at the
Yeah,
show.
yeah. So this was, yeah, just about a month ago. We all went there to see Romeo and Juliet with Taylor and Jessica and Guy. Um, yeah, it was so much fun.
So it
They
was
have,
outside. Was it where was there like a set or was it kind of like a minimal stage or
yeah, it was like a pretty small outdoor stage. It was at Liechtenstein Palace in the courtyard. Sounds very fancy, but it's like, yeah, nice building in central Prague. Um, and it was just like for one night. It was part of like the summer Shakespeare festival. So there was a lot of Shakespeare stuff going on, but
Mhm.
this was the only one with the Prague Shakespeare Company where Guy Roberts is the director.
Yeah, very cool.
So it's like, no, we need to go see this.
Yes.
And we
How
got to
far
say
is that from where
hi.
you are?
Um, I mean, it's like if you can get a direct flight, it's like 1.5 hours. Um, we during our first visit, we drove there, so it was like 13 hours drive maybe.
It's always fascinating to me how close together things are over there in Europe because in America everything is far apart.
Yeah, yeah.
And
It's
like
not too bad to pop over for a weekend.
yeah, like that seems totally a must
It's
do.
it's, it's doable.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm. And we got to hang out and chat a bit after the show, and that
Yeah,
was really cool. They're very nice people, so
that's always great to know. And
yeah.
it definitely seems true of this cast. Okay, here's we got your Flickerverse hat on and
Yeah,
bones.
yeah. So jumping topics again, but yeah, here we're back at my office. So now I'm not studying anymore. Now I'm a full osteologist and archaeologist. Yeah, working with bones and old stuff all day.
So what are
Uh,
tell me about these bones here in the picture.
uh, the big one at the top is a moose skull that I've prepared myself. So it's a, I mean, when you're working with archaeological skeletal remains and animal bones, you usually don't find like a whole skeleton, and you can tell like,
Mm.
oh, of course, this is a whole moose lying here. You often like find it could be burnt bones or just small pieces, and you need like a good reference collection to like compare the little pieces of bone that you have to like modern specimens that oh, I know this is like a sheep or a fox, or and you can so I have a lot of like modern bones that I can use for my as my reference collection for analyzing olden fragmented stuff. So we have like a moose skull on top, and we have a wild boar, and there's a sheep in the background there, and I think it's a small cat skull at the bottom, or a fragment of one. So this is
And
one of my shelves.
yeah, and you just have more of them.
Yeah, and you need like fish bones and bird bones, and so you really need like a big collection of
Build
stuff.
up a collection.
Yeah,
Very
it's
cool.
easier to have like the physical bones than just look at like
Yeah,
pictures.
that makes
It's,
sense.
I mean, it's a
And
tactile science in a way.
are those like giant teeth in front of the moose skull? Are those different bones? Or am I seeing what am I
Oh yeah,
looking
but
at?
it's not teeth. It's like the end of the um, metacarpals, the like these hand bones.
Okay.
But yeah, from that angle, it, it kind of looks like
It
teeth.
kind of looked well, especially because there's a teeth above, it kind of like gave
Yeah.
that impression. So would that be from the moose as well?
Yes.
Yeah, really big. And then I guess while we have this up is a great time to talk about the Flickerverse.
Yeah.
So how did that come
So
about and how are you enjoying it?
I'm enjoying it very much. No, it was born from a bit of a frustration of almost never being able to catch live shows, but because they're always like American timed.
Hmm.
Um, Usually around 2, 3 a.m. for me. So it's like I know it's
No way.
unless it's something really special, or I'm invited as a guest or something,
Yeah,
I'm not gonna stay up on a work day to watch
sure.
that. It's because then I would be not doing work day after. So I guess I started a bit screaming into the void of Twitter of time, just hey, can't someone do something like not this a European time zoned, or yeah, and nobody did. So it's like, okay, can I gather some people and
Yeah,
do
it was
something?
definitely
And
much needed.
yeah, so I just tweeted out, hey, would anyone be interested in like doing some sort of European live show? And I think I mean, of course, I talked with Agenor about it. I think Camille was the first to respond, and then yeah, Solon and Androl and Goat Brother and Rob all like, yeah, sure, we can do this, and it just evolved after that. And uh, one of my favorite parts in all of Wheel of Time is the whole flicker scene. It's like one of my absolute favorite scenes. Um, so we wanted to do something that was not exactly what everyone else is doing. So it's like, okay, well, what if we do just like what ifs? What if this happened? What if this happened? And just have fun speculating about all the possible mirror worlds in the Wheel of Time.
Yeah, I love it. I've been able to join a few times, and it's
Yeah.
actually a better time for me as well because at night it's my kids' bedtime, and so it's a lot easier. I mean, I am privileged because I work from home, so I can just watch a live stream over lunch pretty easily. So that's been like the whole vibe of it, and just being able to like riff off of ideas and stuff. The chat's really fun, and I'll definitely put a link to that in the show notes if people haven't had a chance to watch live or watch the recordings. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun because you never know exactly where the conversation is going to go.
Yeah,
Because it's always like, oh, but if that happened, then maybe that wouldn't have happened. And
right.
what
All the
it
repercussions.
spirals.
Yeah, and there's usually something really fun that Kevin can make a meme out of. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, all that's fun.
Mm. So I'm hoping we can just continue
Yeah,
developing the show and yeah.
yeah, it's really cool. Let's see. Okay, we've got another excavation here.
Yes. So yeah, like I said, I mostly specialize in bones, but I mean, as I work within contract archaeology, so we can't pick and choose the excavations that we do.
Mhm.
It's all decided by the county administrative board, and so I have to excavate anything from like Stone Age to like 19th century stuff. Um, but what I find most interesting is like it's human and animal remains. So this is from a sort of late medieval, early modern cemetery that we excavated between 2013 and 2018. So it was a really long, like, infrastructure project that involved archaeology, like rebuilding a whole um, part of like northern Gothenburg. So this was uh, like in the mostly in the 1500s. This was a sort of port town. Gothenburg hadn't been founded by then, so it's like the precursor to Gothenburg, one can say. And it's like at that point, it was Sweden just had like a small strip of land that was like the port to the west to get to the ocean. So like just a bit north we had Norway, and then just a bit south there was Denmark. So this was like an important port town to get trade in and out from the west. And there was a big cemetery, and I think we excavated about 12, 1300 skeletons and analyzed. And yeah, so this is in the picture, it's a grave with 6 men that were most likely soldiers. They were shot, at least 3 of them, and they all had like battle wounds and things like that. So it was, I mean, at this point, Sweden was like always at war with, either Denmark or Norway, and it was a tumultuous time, I could say.
Yeah. So tell me about some of the tools that we're seeing in the image. And I'm guessing the markers are where you're like the little pointy things are like markers of what you've discovered, what you've unearthed.
Yeah, so I think these have like numbers on them for we always how do you I'm losing words now, but map things with the
Mm,
GPS. So we get like, yeah, we get a map of the skeletons. So this is here, and we can see where everything fits together. And we do matrices. We can see that, oh, this grave was dug before this one, and we get like the whole stratigraphy of the cemetery, or we try to, at least. It's not always possible, but so we like, oh, these are the late 1400s skeletons, and then we have the early 1500s, and then yeah. And we try to do analyses and like study demography, and like if we can see changes in like diseases or certain types of injuries or things like that from that. um, I mean, when you excavate a cemetery, it's more with the smaller tools than with big excavator. But we use a lot of big tools most of the time. It's not a lot of like you see in movies that you're just lying there brushing. No. We have deadlines. We need to
Yeah.
we're always stressed. Because we have yeah, construction that wants to start and things like that. So, and we have budgets, everything like that. So we can't just
Yeah.
go around at our leisure.
I'm guessing that's why you have like the ear defenders on your helmets.
Yeah, we usually have big machines around us all the time. So
Yeah, they do the like deep work and then you get in there and
yeah. So I
do
mean,
the
we
next.
unearth everything with the big excavator, um and it's hard when it's a cemetery because you're gonna damage stuff. You're gonna
Mm.
damage bones. You're gonna damage graves, but you can't avoid it. It's not possible. You can't dig up 1,300 skeletons with just a
One
shovel.
one toothbrush at a time.
No,
Yeah.
we would never get the budget for that.
Yes. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Mm.
And then
Uh,
like these parts, the plastic with the stones covering them, is that to cover a particular area or
I think that was just to so that the small toe bones wouldn't
right?
like
That makes sense. That was my instinct. I was like, is
escape.
that protecting the feet there?
Mm.
Okay. And then there's probably something down here.
Yeah, so these skeletons are actually these are very late skeletons, so probably 1600s. So they were pretty close to the surface and have been more damaged than the ones that were dug deeper into the ground. So you can see they're quite fragmented.
Yeah, that makes
Probably
sense.
the last part of before the town was abandoned and you started building Gothenburg instead. So it's
Okay.
as I said before, it's about recreating stories. So it's like what happened to this person? Who was this person? And I mean we can never, of course, know for sure, but at least it's one way to preserve their memory, I guess.
Yeah. I think for me, those stories really help me relate. My my experience of history was very story based, and so it's a subject that I'm really interested in, whereas my husband's experience of history was to memorize dates, which
Mm.
is not a connection. Like that's maybe some people connect to that, number people, but for story people there's something about like at least trying to put together the clues about who this person might have been that can make us care about history and to learn from what it has to teach us. Okay, I realize we've been talking a long time. We've got
Yeah.
5 pictures left, so I'm going to move us
Yes.
along. This is another archaeology or osteoarchaeology one, yeah?
Yeah, so I just wanted to add some different pictures of like look how nice and sunny it can be. I'm not wearing a hard hat. I'm sitting
Right.
here drawing a post hole, having a nice and lovely time. And but that's like maybe 1-2% of the time. Um, so I think if we skip to the next
Yeah,
picture.
okay. Just it
Um,
looks different on every day, basically. This one's in the rain.
yeah, and sometimes it's like this. It's just a lot of mud,
A lot of mud.
and it's heavy, and you
Mm,
get home with sore shoulders,
yeah.
and yeah, um, yeah,
Yeah, I
uh,
think when I think maybe this is what, no, we'll get there in a minute, but you posted a picture to Discord and I was like, wait a minute, are you like an archaeologist? And you're like, it's osteoarchaeology and it's not as glamorous as it sounds. I'm like, I still think it's pretty awesome, but I love that you've got the pictures to show us the range of how it looks on a day-to-day
yeah,
basis. So here you are in the snow.
yeah. This is not good archaeology, but sometimes, with deadlines and everything, we have to.
I feel you. It's like that in the arts too.
So yeah, I mean, it used to be like that. We mostly did work during like this summer, or like spring
Certain
till fall,
seasons. Yeah.
but budgets have gotten tighter, timelines have gotten tighter, everything has just gotten more stressed. So there aren't any seasons anymore. It's just
Mm,
okay. I mean, if it's like permafrost, then of course it's impossible. Then we just have to say that I'm sorry, we can't do this.
right. Because the ground is
Um,
completely frozen.
yeah, it's like what? Okay, then we need a budget for heating mats and
Mm,
like a big tent, and no one's going to pay for that. So
yeah.
it's like either we wait until the frost goes away, or you'll have to just pay for big tents and
Yeah.
heating.
So this photo is kind of like, look what they have me doing today.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can't believe I'm out here in the snow doing this. Okay, this was the one where you posted this to Discord, and I think you said something about Swan, or go ahead, you can tell me about it and I'll listen.
I think that this is like a bowl that Swan would have had in her like um eat from or something. So yeah, it's a fish bowl. And I asked my colleague because I didn't find this. This was one of my colleagues out in another site in Gothenburg. It's like an old, yeah, it's the old sort of port harbor area of Gothenburg. So it might be like 19th century. Um, and we don't know yet exactly where it comes from. It's not made in Sweden. Someone had a theory it might be somewhere from Britain or maybe Dutch, but still not clear on the exact date and where it was made. But I mean, it's a big trade port, so it could be European at least, but we don't know exactly where
And
yet.
some kind of pottery, yes.
Yeah. Um,
It's one
this
of
is
those
this is
weird,
not my sorry, this is
yeah,
not
not
my
your,
expertise.
not bones, but
I think it's some sort of glazed redware. I think that's the
that was
term.
I've done a little bit of pottery from the modern maker
Mm.
side of things, and I was
Mm.
kind of seeing some red clay, signs of red clay. It's a really weird something about, I don't know if it's the image or the bowl, it almost can look like the fish is popping out or the fish is recessed in. It has that weird kind of MC
Mm.
Escher vibe to it. Um, but yeah, I could definitely see Swan having that in the Amerlin study.
Mm.
Very much so.
I think it's really cool. So I hope we find out more about it later.
Yeah, keep us updated. I love that so much.
I don't know what type of fish it's supposed to be. An eel, maybe.
I don't know. It's like it
It
has,
looks a bit, or a pike. I don't know.
I don't know enough about fish, but like it has a long, kind of wideish head with the eyes kind of on top, and then it's like
Mm.
curled in on itself. It has the tail in the middle. And then
It,
it
it,
almost
it looks
seems
a bit
like,
like a pike to me, but
yeah, it almost seems like there's the fish, and then there's also a border that seems like,
yeah, some
uh,
extra.
yeah, yeah. So it gives like a very Ouroboros effect.
Mm.
Um, It could definitely be a terangrial for sure. Okay, we're at the last picture and then we'll wrap things up because this one's gone pretty long, but thank you so much for talking to me. This has been so cool. So what are we looking at here?
Yeah, so in contrast to like the 19th century bowl, then we have an Iron Age little cup that I found, and it's like pretty uncommon in in our
It's
field and in
yeah,
Sweden to find like complete pottery, especially when it's like maybe 1500, 2000 years old. So it was
yeah.
like it was so cute. So this is from, yeah, an Iron Age site, pretty close to where I live actually. Um, And we had lots of these longhouses and hearths and cooking pits. And in one of the pits, I found one of these little cups. Not sure what they might have used it for, but anyone's idea.
Yeah.
Okay. So and we also found a piece of bread in one of the post holes, which was really cool. It was all like charcoal, but
yeah,
we sent it for analysis, and it actually came back as a bun and what do you call it when not yeasted, but when yeah. A risen it wasn't flatbread. It was
right. Yeah.
And they had used like wheat and legumes and stuff in it. So
it's amazing that we can learn these things.
2,000-year-old bread is like, oh my God, it's so cool.
Was it like preserved because it had been burned, or like the conditions that it was in?
Yeah, if it hadn't been burned, it wouldn't have been preserved.
Right, that makes sense.
And it also, you start, okay, why is there like burnt bread in this post hole? Is it like some sort of offering, like for when you built the house, or why would you put it there? Or is it just like, oh, I burnt the bread, I'll just shove it down this post hole, no one will notice? Or
yeah.
So it's all about like the
your work is kind of the Flickerverse. A little. What if this? What if that? How did this happen? Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, we have like we have some facts that we know for sure. Okay, this happened. We have these clues, but what do we make of it?
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. So thank you for being the first guest at the Stedding. I will let people know where to follow you on Twitter and how to subscribe to the Flickerverse, and link to some of the other things that you mentioned down in show notes. And yeah, I guess that's it for today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been really fun.
Thanks for joining me at the Stedding. I'm taking an Ogier-like pace with this project, so you can expect 1 to 2 episodes a month. You can subscribe to the video feed at YouTube or the audio feed wherever you find your podcasts. There will be links to that and all of the things mentioned in today's episode in show notes below, as well as the Stedding merch made by our very own New Creations by Jen, the Stedding Discord server, a place to geek out over enthusiasms that may expand beyond the world of the Wheel of Time. There's also a Patreon if you'd like to support in that way, or you can also help simply by spreading the word, posting episodes on social media, or sending them to a friend. I hope to see you again at the Stedding. Your name sings in my ears.